For how mountainous Vancouver Island is, there are only 2 operating ski resorts today. However, if we look back a few decades, Vancouver Island was once home to multiple ski resorts like Mount Arrowsmith, Forbidden Plateau, and Green Mountain. All of these places are now closed. Well, you can check out my video on Mount Arrowsmith. This video will explore the entire history of Green Mountain. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Before we get to the history of Green Mountain itself, we need to wind back a little bit and take a closer look at 2 earlier ski clubs that were part of Nanaimo. These 2 hills are Mount Brenton and Little Wolf Mountain. Mount Brenton operated as a site for the Victoria Ski Club from around 1948 to 1961. However, the first rope tow lift was installed in the early 1950s, along with a small cabin. The ski club changed names to the Snowbird Ski Club in 1951. Over the decade Mount Brenton operated, it slowly grew in popularity, with the ski club installing a second rope tow up the mountain. However, from 1958 to 1961, low snow levels plagued the mountain, which led to a significant drop in new memberships. This all led to the Snowbird Ski Club deciding to relocate operations to a new spot. Like Mount Brenton, Little Wolf Mountain operated on Blackjack Ridge, commencing operations in 1950. The ski club was built and run by the Nanaimo Ski Club. In its heyday, the ski club had a 700-foot-long rope tow and a cabin. Ultimately, 2 acts of vandalism and poor snow years forced the closure of the site. The Nanaimo Ski Club merged with the Snowbird Ski Club in 1961 to build and operate a new location. This finally brings us to Green Mountain. In May of 1961, a new A-frame cabin was built on the upper slopes of Green Mountain. This lodge was prefabricated and flown in by helicopter. The club secured a lease to the mountain from the Crown Zellerbach Logging Company, utilizing existing logging roads up the mountain. All 3 ski tows were brought up the mountain, and all were initially installed. By January of 1962, the Snowbirds had opened all 3 rope tows on Green Mountain, with the lodge nearing completion. Green Mountain exploded with popularity in the early years, with the Snowbird Ski Club doubling new membership sales the first few years. Green Mountain became a destination and known throughout British Columbia for its superb snow quality. In 1965, the Snowbird Ski Club reorganized their operations, creating a new corporation titled Green Mountain Recreation Company that would operate, run, and lease the resort. The new company quickly unveiled grand plans to install a T-bar in time for the 1964 ski season and a chairlift the following year. While the Doppelmayr T-bar was indeed installed in 1964, a lack of funds prevented a chairlift from ever being built. The access road was always a challenge for Green Mountain. As it was an active logging road, conditions could be treacherous in the winter. This led to several creative solutions, including the ski hill purchasing 2 Bombardier snowmobiles that were converted into buses of sorts. Many people parked at the bottom of the mountain and hitched a ride to the top. Throughout the 1970s, it became obvious that Vancouver Island did not have the ski resort capacity to handle all the new skiers attracted to the sport. While Green Mountain drew up plans to install a second T-bar lift in 1969, the inhospitable access road was a major hurdle for the ski area. In 1972, to help boost tourism, the government proposed funding a new ski area on Coronation Mountain. The new ski area would have had a low elevation and predominantly beginner terrain. This proposal drew significant ire from the 3 operating ski hills on the island, who thought the government should fund significant expansions at their existing resorts. Ultimately, a ski resort on Coronation Mountain was never developed. To combat low attendance during weekdays, Green Mountain introduced a new program where the entire mountain would be rented out Monday to Friday, excluding holidays. This program was met with success, with the ski area charging around $40 to $85 per person, depending on how many the group was. The second T-bar was finally built in 1973, which gave the ski area 2 brand new trails and greatly enhanced the appeal of the mountain. The ski area operated throughout the 1970s, sparring with the provincial government over who should pay for the access road, along with fighting the Coronation Mountain ski development. Though the access road continued to plague the resort, Green Mountain had a strong skiing culture on the mountain, hosting carnivals and pond skims frequently. Additionally, the mountain also boasted the best snow on the island, frequently staying open until May. In October of 1983, the bottom mechanical shack for the Doppelmayr T-bar was deliberately set on fire. This was bad news for Green Mountain, as the ski hill had no insurance whatsoever. Green Mountain suddenly found itself with a $50,000 bill and no operating lower T-bar in time for ski season. While they were able to use a backhose power supply to temporarily fix the T-bar, a road washout in December forced a later opening of the mountain. By March of 1984, citing rising expenses and lost revenue from that ski season, Green Mountain went insolvent. The club hoped to reopen the mountain with the help of a $75,000 government grant. However, the club only received half of that money. The ski hill asked the Nanaimo City Council for financial help, which was outright rejected. By October of 1984, both ski lifts were sold and the mountain was finally abandoned for good. Green Mountain had a base elevation of 1,181 meters and a summit elevation of 1,422 meters. This gives Green Mountain an overall vertical drop of 241 meters. Green Mountain had two T-bar lifts. The lower Doppelmayr T-bar was called the Green T-bar. This lift was around 715 meters long, with an elevation gain of 186 meters. The Alpine T-bar was installed by Harusch, had a distance of 540 meters, and an elevation gain of 118 meters. This means that most of the beginner to intermediate terrain was higher up the mountain. Finally, the mountain had a small rope tow below the ski lodge. This terrain is surprisingly steep for a beginner run. Green Mountain was fairly small in terms of skiable acreage. The resort only had 5 official trails on the map, which spanned from intermediate to expert. On the lower T-bar, the Easy Slider Green Run ran all the way down the Green T-bar. This run has an average slope of 20%, though it gets fairly steep in certain sections. The Waterfall Run is the longest by far at 1.4 kilometers in length. This run ran top to bottom and had a consistent slope gradient throughout. This would have most likely been the easiest run on the mountain. The Snowbirds Run starts at the top of the Alpine T-bar and provided another upper mountain intermediate run. Finally, there were 2 black runs on the looker's left side of the T-bar. Gully is a little steeper than Big Meadow, however not as long. Big Meadow is 918 meters long and has an average elevation of around 25%. None of Green Mountain's terrain was too difficult or too easy. Overall, it was a great intermediate mountain, and it would have also been great for freeride potential. It is truly unfortunate that Green Mountain had to close. The area consistently received high snow accumulation and did have significant expansion potential. It's interesting to think about where Green Mountain could have been had the lodge not burnt down. Ultimately, we'll never know. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, this is Skier72.